Hi, welcome to the Gamesplainer. I'm Jeff the Gamesplainer, and today I'm gamesplaining Back to the Future. I have set up the game for a 3-player game. We'll start as player 1 on the left-hand side. I hope you've watched the other videos so you have a feel for what the actual rules are, and just follow along as we play, and I hope this gives you a better idea of how the game plays. To start with, first player has 2 cards in 2015, 1 in 85, and 1 in 55. The 2 in 2015 will allow both Biff and Marty to be played against the Biff and Marty over there. So what we might do, first player is going to take Doc as his character for this round, which allows him to move the DeLorean with no cost. So he'll move the DeLorean to 2015. He'll play the George and Marty in 2015. And he will need to pay 2 time for that. So he will throw the 1985 George and Marty into the discard pile. That's about all he wants to do this turn. So because they're in the DeLorean's in 2015, he'll draw 2 more cards into his hand. Player 2 is going to grab Marty, and so he can play the first character card that he plays this round, which is going to be this one. He can do with 0 time cost. So it's a 2015 Marty Doc. So he fulfills the Marty section of that. And once again, because they're in 2015, he'll draw 2 cards. The next player is going to grab George, which will allow him to draw 1 extra character card. This is his lineup of cards now. He doesn't need a Doc for 2015, he has 2 of them. So he's going to now discard 1 of the Docs to take another card, which is a Marty in any time period. Okay, so we're currently in 2015. Any of those 4 cards could be played, except he's got George, so it's going to have to be George Biff, which will give him his Biff for 2015. So he'll play that into 2015, and he needs to play 2 time. So he's going to play those 2 time for that card, and because they're in 2015, he'll draw 2 new cards. Okay, all of those character tiles get returned. First player moves to the middle player. Okay, he's going to grab the Marty card. He's going to spend that Biff. Oh, let's see what we're doing. He wants to place this Marty. So what he'll do, actually no, he'll spend this Doc to move the DeLorean to 1955. He'll play this Marty with 0 time cost because he is Marty, and he needs to spend 2 Ripple cards, so these 2 will both become Ripple cards. Now this player has no more cards in the hand, and we're in 1955, so he's unable to draw any more cards. Next player has a George, a Marty, or a Marty Lorraine, both in 1955, but he doesn't have any other cards, so he won't be able to pay the Ripple cost for playing those cards. So he's not going to be able to play either of those cards. He'll grab George, which will allow him to draw another card. Those 2 are both useful to him. 2015 George Lorraine. That could be useful. So he's not going to worry about having the extra card. He'll just stop there. And because he didn't actually do anything this turn, he's going to take a clock token, which will allow him to do stuff for free next turn. Okay, none of those cards are 1955, so it's going to be of 0 help to this player. He's going to take Doc, which will allow him to move the DeLorean, and he'll move the DeLorean up to 1985. He doesn't have any Doc cards, so he can't play any cards this turn, which means he'll be able to also grab a token, and now that we're in 1985, he can draw 1 more card at the end of his turn. The start player marker changes hands again. He has nothing he can play in 1985. If he can get to 2015, he can play this card as the Any, which will cost him 2 time and no Ripple. So he just needs to find a way to get there. He will take George, which will allow him to draw a card, which is identical to the one he's already got in his hand. So he might discard that one and draw another one, which gives him a Biff. He actually needs to get a Biff into 2015, but doesn't obviously have the character enabling him to play Biff. So he's going to instead use the 3 power on the back of the clock token to move the DeLorean to 2015. He will play this because he's got the character of George into 2015, and that'll cover the any. So he's just looking for a biff in 2015, which will be that card when he gets there. He will pay the 2 costs, the 2 time with that card, and there's 0 ripple. Now because he's in 2015, he gets to draw 2 new cards. Next player has nothing for 2015 except for possibly Lorraine. And look, he's going to use Lorraine as the any, so he'll claim the Lorraine tile, which allows him to move 1 character 1 era, which he doesn't wish to do. So he'll now play the Lorraine into 2015, pay the cost of that, of 2 clocks, and there's no ripple, but he'll get to draw 2 new cards for 2015. Then the final player has no cards in hand, so he's going to take Biff, which allows him to steal 1 card from another player. They've both got 4, so he'll steal a card from the middle player because he stole from the other one last time. He'll take that card. He now has a Biff in 1985, so that's super helpful to him. He's already got a Biff played in 1985, and he's got a Biff played in 2015. So he's going to hang on to that card and play nothing. He'll take a clock token and 2 cards because they're in 2015. All 3 of these cards are 1985 cards, so they're not a whole bunch of help, other than possibly to get one of them down. So he will take Doc. Doc will allow him to move the DeLorean to 85. He'll play this card, which is another Doc, but gives Marty, so he only needs an any on that pile to be able to do anything. He needs to pay 1 cost for the time and 1 ripple. They're both the same on both, so 1 to discard, 1 to the ripple cost. And then he can draw 1 more card because they're in 1985. Next along, he's got 2 1985 cards. One's a Biff, the other's a Lorraine and George. He already has his Biff. He is going to grab a Lorraine. That will allow him to move this Biff down to 1955 where he's useful. He'll now play the George Lorraine, which will cover the any figure for 1985. That has a 2 clock cost, and he'll pay that to the ripple, which will give him 3 points in the ripple deck. It goes there. Because they're in 1985, he'll draw 1 more card, and that's the end of his turn. Okay, and back over to the player on the left, who has 4 cards. We're currently in 85, which is those 2 cards. He needs a Doc, so Marty or Doc would be fine. So what he could do is grab Doc to be able to play that, or that one. I'll give him his Doc for 1985. He'll need to pay the time cost for that and the ripple. He's not able. He was hoping to be able to place 2 cards this turn, but he's not going to be able to. If he were to grab the Marty, he could play Marty card in 85, paying the 2 cost and the 1 ripple. He's not going to be able to play 2 cards at all. Okay, he will grab Marty as his character. He'll use that to place this Marty, giving him Marty and Doc in 1985. He'll pay the single ripple cost. He needs that Biff for 2015, so he won't pay that one as the ripple. He'll pay this one as the ripple cost. And he'll stop there. We're in 1985, so he gets to draw a card. And first player marker shifts across 1. First player is showing Lorraine Marty. We're really looking for a George in 55 to be able to claim that one, which he doesn't yet have. But let's try this out. He's going to grab George so he can get an extra card, which gives him an 85 Marty Doc. Look, he's in 1985, so he could probably do with that, but he's going to need to pay the cost and the ripple. No, tell you what he'll do. He will play his Marty Doc into 1985. He will use his clock token to pay the 2 clock times, which are necessary on that particular card, and then the other one can go into his ripple deck. Because they're in 1985, he'll get to draw 1 more card. There is nothing that this player can do in 1985, So he will take... So he'll take Biff and steal a card from one of the other players. The other players all have one card each, so he's just going to take that card, which gives him a Lorraine. Lorraine doesn't belong anywhere. So we need to get a Biff into 2015, which is that card. To get that card there, we're going to need to move the DeLorean. He doesn't have enough power to move the DeLorean any other way, and still needs to get down to 1955 to drop a card there before he can do anything. So he's going to not do anything more. He'll take a card and he'll draw one of the clock tiles. And middle player has Biff in 1955, which is a necessary card to get down. He has a clock, so he could move to 1955 to play the Biff, but he wouldn't be able to pay the time cost or the ripple cost for that particular card. So he'll hang on to that. He will grab Doc, however, and move the DeLorean to 2015 so that he can take two cards. First player marker moves around. Okay, in 2015, because that's where we currently are, this player needs to get Biff down. So he's going to grab Biff as his thing. He'll steal a card from the only player who has cards, and he will place Biff, which gives him Biff, Marty, and an any, so he's actually fulfilled that, but he can't claim it until he has someone in 1955. That card that he just put down will also cost him 3 time, so he will spend those 2 cards for the 3 time. There's no ripple when you're in 2015, so he has nothing else he can do except for take 2 more cards. Okay, we're in 2015. We need to place a Biff in 2015, and we can pay for it with this Biff. So, unfortunately, however, Biff is not an available character, but Jennifer is. So he'll take Jennifer, which allows him to play a card of any character, which is Biff for 2015, and it would cost him only 2 clocks, but he's only got 3, so he's got to use all 3 of them. He'll take 2 fresh cards because he's in 2015, and then this player has no cards. All he can do is grab a character, which will be George, allowing him to draw a card. He doesn't need this card, so he will exchange that for another one. Okay, also not as much help to him, but that's okay. He's in 2015, so he'll grab 2 more cards and a clock token because he didn't do anything. All those tiles go back in. First player has an 85 card and a 55 card. He really needs to get a card onto 1955 in order to be able to action, to actually claim the event in 2015. He needs that George in 55. He has another Marty in 85. So what he's going to do is claim Lorraine as his character, which allows him to move 1 card, and he'll move the Doc Marty down to 1955. He now has enough to be able to claim the first event in 2015, which he will do. He also claims that points token, and because they're in 1955, he will draw 2 more cards. Look, I might leave it there. I know I'm only partway through a turn, but I want to get to the point where you see someone actually claim an event. I hope this helps you get a better grasp of Back to the Future. I hope it helps you get Back to the Future to the table. If you have any comments or suggestions, please write them below. If you have any games that you wish to be Gamesplaned, please shoot me an email at thegamesplainer@gmail.com. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter to see what games I'm playing. Subscribe to my videos to keep up to date with the games that I'm gamesplaining. And until next time, enjoy gaming.